Hey, Dr. Dominic Scott, aka Dr. Dom here. Answer to a question from out there in the audience, and that is, what can I do with limited space, limited equipment for home exercise, home workout to gain some upper body strength? Well, some of the classics and some of the limitations, but also most importantly, some of what I know from over 300,000 plus in clinic assessments of people, the average Joe, the average Jane, as well as many, elite level athletes. But let's apply this to the generally like the working person or the student, staying fit student athlete. And that is one of the most important steps to take in our exercise time, from my experience, to help avoid breaking down sooner than you should and getting out of the game and leading yourself towards likelihood of orthopedic surgery, etc., is you've got to create conditions in the body to undo the career effects on the body. If you're a student, it's your student life career, which means usually a lot of in-class study, online study, homework, laptop, device, seated. Many careers, not all, but many careers rely on a lot of seated time, whether it's the out in the field, lots of car time, traveling to clients, airplane travel, and in office, in other offices, seated time predominates a lot of people's lifestyle in this culture nowadays. So undoing seated effects on the body is always going to be a theme. If you've watched other videos, you've probably heard it, but it can't be stated enough. And that is from my own personal clinical experience and research. So upper body strength at home, limited features. It's going to be mainly chest, triceps, some biceps if you have some weights. I like the add-on when there's limited space of getting some straps. We'll cover that in other videos, but let's presume you don't have straps, you have light weights, maybe up to 8 or 10 pounds, and we're going to do some things that help upper body strength as well as take care of my number one, which is undoing seated effects in the body. So there's other videos that are on preparing properly, warming the body up. So let's presume you're doing some of those things like the spinal motioning and some marching in place or treadmilling, where you're getting your body out of the forward, device, laptop, couch, wherever your workstation is, or even a decent workstation, but we fall into this kind of forward positioning. We got to create extension somehow and get the body up there. When you do repetitions, let's have them in extension. Then there is, what muscles are you contracting? Yes, when you're working on biceps, you should also be paying attention to what's going on through the whole core, front, back, sides, glutes, down to knees, down to toes, even when you're doing biceps. So let's not take too long. We'll get into a couple items here. Chairs, that's a classic. We can go straight into push-ups, but here's the Dr. Dom pro tip. If you haven't worked out a lot and consistently and functionally to make sure that joints are safe, you need to go into things easier and sequentially get harder and stronger and heavier, or push the endurance more as you go, not right out of the gate. So to do that with a push-up, you can try your own body weight, get the form right, and just go shallow. So you can get into it. About shoulder spacing, you're going to check on the back of the body. We're not doing butt flare, we're not doing butt dipped, somewhere right in the middle. It's a good idea to try to have the toes enabling the feet to be flat, and then you have to check in, do we have our, on, like we stated in other videos, ear, shoulder, hip alignment, right? So a lot of times we'll go in here to cheat with the traps, or that'll come from our seated posture programming. So for me, I also feel like I need to elongate neck, and then we're going to go shallow initially. And you can do reps there. The deeper we go, the more angle comes into wrist, elbow, and shoulder. Now there's advantages to the muscle building, but joints are the game changers. If we have not been training regularly and keeping up on joint health, we're going to make those a shock into reality if we go into big ranges of motion. So that's a push-up with kind of full body weight there. Not full, but on a horizontal ground. The other way is to take some load off the body by getting another surface. We got 2 chairs, just what we had around. And then you're going to position your body at an angle. Same thing, get your lines of the ear, shoulder, hip in alignment. And you're going to do still shallow, but it's going to give you more ability to do more reps before you fatigue. And what you would do with that is coordinate how you move on every rep. We first need to pattern in how we move right. So we need the movement to be considerate of all the muscle groups through here, and then ultimately back to the goal. The goal is almost the last thing, building some upper body, get all the safe form, effective form in place. And then when you're paying attention to all that, you're going to really focus on the squeeze. Since we don't have a lot of weight resistance, how hard we contract in the area we're working on is going to make a difference in both directions. I like the negative direction to be a little slower, and then get ready to contract hard and go all the way out and hold at the out to get more muscle action there. So that's an example of the push-up one, right? The curls, the biceps. I'm going to go back to, I think we have some 8s, not very heavy, but we're going to get form right. We're going to create reps, and we're going to squeeze harder, right? If you have a lighter weight, squeeze the muscle harder. The muscle contraction is a big portion of the action, right? So you're going to squeeze harder when you do that. The key would be here is be very conscientious with the movement in each side, still have body contracted all the way through. Knees, really from feet to ears, everything in between, check that contraction as you go. I also like, as you've seen in other videos, incorporating something kind of like a hammer curl, but almost like running. And let's get this going so we're very conscientious. You're coordinating more movements, but you should be able to make this movement happen with glutes, abs, all the way up to leading with the chest going on. Light weights again, so then you have to tell yourself, hey, the goal was the bicep. How hard are we going to squeeze the bicep as we go through, because we want to get more upper body action. So with these, both of those, I would probably alternate some body weight squats or body weight lunges between them. Do the upper body and then get into a really good squat form. And that's when you're resting the buys or the chest. Or you get into really good body weight lunges as the resting set before you go between your upper body sets. In a lunge, you can create some variety, stepping back, pulling through at the back leg, always keeping chest up and contraction of everything all the way through the ear, shoulder, hip line. Another variety might be, whether with the weight or not, coordinate core action and agility by keeping that great form when we go into the lunge, have some weight to offset, go around a half circular motion at the torso, trying to maintain balance with even weight on both feet, toe and front leg, right? We could do a set or a step down rep this way, back to center. Use the back of the leg muscle to pull yourself back up. And then other leg down, rotation, alternate direction, boom, pull back with the rear leg, right? And that could be something done between your sets of your buys and chest and tries, right? Last thing, of course, most people have seen tricep work. Well, before we go to that, when we do tricep dips, here's something where it's very hard to not have wrist and elbow and shoulder in a compromising position. So can be done. That would be something like this one. I would go shallow and focus on how hard you contract. If you wanted more weight to the triceps, you could bring a leg up. So you're adding more of the upper body weight closer to the body. You're going to go slow and force and squeeze on the upright direction. Again, behind you, a little risky on a lot of the shoulder problems I see with the bicep tendon. Another version would be to get more tricep. Just bring hands close together, and you're going to make it a little shallower so it's less chest and the squeeze is more on the tricep. And you could always slow down in both directions to get harder work on the muscle. So that shoots through a few of the limited things we can do with small space and limited equipment, but super effective. So give it a try and give me some feedback. Dr. Dom out.